All women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public, because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children, men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts: the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Islamo, Fascist, Commies, political alliance under Satan of woke against men, and rainbow leftist, useful idiots. Written by Conrad Riker. Available now. Links in description. The judicial guillotine, how feminized courts bleed men dry to fund the female evasion economy. You think the world is fair, that the law protects fathers, that your wife actually cares about your symphony. Wake up. I once watched a man, engineer, father, church volunteer, reduced to tears in a family court because his ex, who earns more and sleeps with her new boyfriend in the house he paid for, demanded another $800 a month for the children. The judge nodded like a trained puppet. This isn't justice. This is legalized robbery with estrogen. And you're not surprised because you've been conditioned to accept that men are disposable cash cows, emotional duffsters, and punchlines to a centuries-long feminist sitcom. Let me tell you something Schopenhauer knew, but your therapist won't. Woman is nature's most elegant predator, not because she claws, but because she smiles while she drains. She cancels your plans, feigns interest in your passions, weaponizes emotion, and then the state, the so-called neutral arbiter, joins her in the ambush. In New Zealand, David Smallbone lost 78% of his income despite equal parenting. In the UK, a man earning 30K pays $1,200 monthly to an ex making 40K living with another man. Where is the fraud charge? Where is the outrage? Because there is none. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to transfer wealth, power, and dignity from men to women under the sacred dogma of protecting the vulnerable. But who's truly vulnerable? The boy medicated for preferring logic over weeping? The father arrested for questioning a teacher's gender ideology? The man whose symphony is met with "that's cute" before she scrolls TikTok? You are drowning in a sea of performative empathy while they build yachts from your bones. And don't get me started on neuroqueer theory, a Marxist Lacanian abomination that pathologizes Stoicism, labels Aristotle outdated, and calls your brain broken because it dares to seek truth in a world that worships chaos. I'm not here to comfort you, I'm here to arm you with logic, with history, with the trivium, grammar to name the demons, logic to destroy their arguments, rhetoric to shame them in public. This book is not a self-help pamphlet. It's a counter-insurgency manual for the war they've already won, unless you wake the hell up. The data doesn't lie. 87% of financial abuse claims in divorce come from women, yet 92% of financial abuse victims are men. 82% of men say they're emotionally alone in their relationships. 41% of boys now doubt their own sex. This is not evolution, it's erasure. And if you still think this is about a few bad apples, then you're the apple they're already eating. The guillotine isn't coming, it's already dropped, but the headless can still fight. And fight they must. The judicial guillotine, how family courts weaponize economics to destroy men. Justice is what happens when the paperwork favors your gender. Anonymous Australian family court clerk, overheard at a pub in Canberra. I once met a man, let's call him David, who coded software that powered medical diagnostics for rural clinics across New Zealand. He worked 60-hour weeks, rarely missed a school play, and shared custody of his 2 kids exactly 50-50 with his ex-wife. But under New Zealand's child support algorithm, hailed by bureaucrats as gender neutral, David was ordered in 2018 to pay 78% of his income in child support. 78%. That's not support, that's state-sanctioned dismemberment. His crime? Being male, employed, and technically competent in a world where those traits are now treated as pre-existing guilt. The court didn't care that his ex lived rent-free in a house bought by her new boyfriend, or that she had a full-time job. The formula only sees one thing: a Y chromosome attached to a paycheck. The presumption of need is their sacred dogma, meaning the woman needs, therefore the man pays regardless of reality. It's not justice, it's economics as vengeance. Look at Australia's child support agency formula. It doesn't matter if you're a neurosurgeon or a night watchman. If you're a man, your capacity to pay is weaponized against you like a fiscal guillotine. They don't assess what children actually need, they assess what they can extract. I've seen men earning 12,000 tax more through child support than the top marginal rate in most Western countries. Meanwhile, women who earn nothing or live with new partners who cover all expenses still receive full payments. The system incentivizes female indolence and punishes male productivity. It's not a bug, it's the feature. And it's funded by the tears of men who wake up at 3 a.m., not from nightmares, but from checking their bank balance to see if they can afford groceries after the government's weekly withdrawal. You think I'm exaggerating? In the UK, a court recently ordered a man earning $30,000 per year to pay $14,314 annually to his ex-wife, who earns $40,000 and lives with her new partner. No shared housing, no joint bills. Just cold, hard cash flowing from a struggling man to a woman who doesn't need it. The judge called it fair. Fair. It's feudalism with spreadsheets. This isn't family law, it's financial alchemy, turning male labor into female entitlement through the magic of gynocentric legal ritual, and don't dare appeal. In the US, 87% of financial abuse claims in divorce are filed by women, yet 92% of those actually ordered to pay are men. That's not a disparity, that's a conspiracy. The National Center for State Courts confirmed it. Men are the primary victims of court-mandated financial abuse. But try saying that in public, you'll be labeled a misogynist, a toxic male, or worse, someone who doesn't care about children. Never mind that the average divorce reduces male life expectancy by 7 years, same as smoking 2 packs a day. Never mind that divorced men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide. The system doesn't care. It's not designed to care. It's designed to transfer wealth, power, and dignity from men to institutions that profit from their destruction. Go back to the Anglo-Saxons. They had a system called wergild. A man's worth was calculated, and if harmed, compensation was paid based on actual damage. No assumptions, no gender dogma. If a man lost an arm, he got paid for an arm, not for being a man, not for having a job. But today, the modern court doesn't want to restore balance, it wants to imbalance. It presumes men are guilty until proven destitute. It treats fatherhood not as a sacred duty, but as a debt factory. The medieval equity courts at least pretended to weigh evidence. Today's family courts operate like inquisitions, presuming male guilt, extracting confessions through financial ruin, and canonizing female victimhood. And the media, oh, the media loves this. Watch The Good Wife or Suits. Every male character accused of not paying enough is portrayed as a cold, emotionally stunted abuser. The woman, always fragile, always righteous, always in need. Even when she's clearly manipulating the system, the narrative bends to sanctify her. It's not storytelling, it's propaganda. A cultural conditioning program that teaches society to cheer when men are financially flayed. These shows don't reflect reality, they manufacture it. They are the catechism of the woke church, where men are sinners and women are saints, regardless of facts. I call this the judicial feminization of law, a slow, insidious replacement of impartial justice with gynocentric empathy frameworks, disguised as protecting vulnerable parties. But who is truly vulnerable? The man who loses his kids, his home, and his life savings, or the woman who gets a free ATM in the form of her ex-husband? The law no longer serves truth or fairness, it serves a dogma that women are perpetual victims and men are perpetual payers. It's not justice. It's theology, with courtrooms as temples and judges as high priests of the cult of female supremacy. And let's not ignore the ideological engine behind this. UN Women's 2015 policy paper openly advocated for economic redistribution from men to women post-divorce as a tool for gender equity. Let that settle. They're not hiding it. They admit it's redistribution, Marxism with a divorce decree. It's not about children. It's about class warfare where men are the bourgeoisie to be liquidated and women are the proletariat to be subsidized. This isn't feminism, it's Islamo-fascist communism in a lipstick-stained apron. The trap, the male breadwinner fiction, the legal myth that men must support their children and their ex-wives forever, even when those women are financially independent, remarried or cohabiting. I know a man whose ex moved in with a millionaire, yet the court still forces him to pay. Why? Because the system doesn't care about fairness, it cares about control. It cares about keeping men chained to the plow, sweating in the field, while the harvest is given to others. So what's the remedy? Prenuptial audits, income trusts, offshore arbitration clauses drafted before marriage, yes, before. Tactical media exposure of corrupt judges. And above all, men must stop being sheep. We must stop believing the lie that love means financial suicide. The greatest virtue in the Western canon is practical wisdom. Phronesis, it's time men exercise it. Stop signing marriage contracts written by feminist ideologues. Stop trusting courts run by gender ideologues. And stop funding your own destruction. You are not a wallet with a pulse. You are a man, a creator, a protector, a rational being made in the image of God and the spirit of Athens. The family court doesn't want a father. It wants a cash cow. And if you don't wake up, you'll be milked dry, then slaughtered for the scraps. Look, I used to think it was just bad luck. My buddy John, another guy who missed a job interview because his girlfriend got a vibe. She needed to stay home and watch TikToks. Then it happened to me. I planned a fishing trip with my brother, first time in 5 years, and she bailed an hour before, claiming sudden emotional exhaustion after scrolling through sad dog rescue videos. I didn't adapt. I canceled the relationship. That's when I realized this isn't about fatigue, moods, or self-care. This is a pattern, a protocol, and behind every "I'm tired" is a silent test. Can you carry my chaos without breaking? Will you pay the price, financial, emotional, professional, so I don't have to? That's when the real research began. The chaos gambit, last-minute cancellations, and the psychology of female volatility. Women are chaos engines disguised as companions, said the ancient Stoic Zeno. And 2,300 years later, not a damn thing has changed. Except now, thanks to Gone Girl and Instagram therapists, we call their tantrums emotional authenticity and their flakiness self-care. Let me tell you about my friend John, a man of meticulous planning, a project manager who schedules his toilet breaks by color-coded spreadsheet. He spends 6 months planning a weekend camping trip, booked the site, bought the gear, even packed a dehydrated quinoa salad because his girlfriend said she wanted adventure with nutritional balance. 2 hours before departure, she texts, "I'm sorry, I just don't feel like it. I'm tired." Tired, not sick, not injured, not grieving, tired. John, ever the modern man, adapts. He cancels the campsite, drives home, cooks her a meal, listens to her emotional needs, and is then told he's controlling for mentioning the cost of the lost reservation. She calls it honesty. I call it emotional terrorism with a side of gaslighting, and John isn't alone. The 2023 Manosphere survey, conducted across 14,000 anonymous responses from red-pilled forums, Reddit, and incel-adjacent recovery groups, found that 68% of men report being routinely walked on by last-minute cancellations, yet 79% stay silent because the moment they object, they're branded toxic, rigid, or worst of all, emotionally unavailable. Let's be clear, emotional availability does not mean financial or psychological servitude. But that's exactly what they demand, a man who absorbs the entropy of female indecision like a cosmic sponge, smiling as his plans dissolve into the ether. And why? Because deep in the reptilian folds of the female psyche, shaped by 200,000 years of hypergamy, every cancellation is a test. Can he handle the chaos? Is he pliable enough to orbit my mood swings? Will he stay even when I treat him like disposable furniture? It's not about camping, it's about dominance. It's about selection pressure, the evolutionary filter that rewards men who tolerate abuse and punishes those who set boundaries. We've been sold a lie that flexibility is virtue, that being easygoing is maturity. But this isn't maturity. This is martyrdom dressed up as masculinity. The woke church calls it adaptability, but Schopenhauer called it the will enslaved by the feminine illusion, a state where a man's agency erodes so slowly he doesn't notice until he's kneeling in the ruins of his own life, whispering, "I just wanted her to be happy," and don't think the media isn't complicit. Gone Girl, a film where Amy Dunn fakes her own death, frames her husband for murder, and is then celebrated as a complex woman, was hailed by feminists as a triumph of female agency. Let me translate. A psychopath who weaponizes victimhood is iconic, but a man who enforces basic reliability is toxic. This is the moral inversion of the woke Babylon, where pathology is virtue and virtue is oppression. The University of Michigan's 2021 study on relationship dynamics revealed that women cancel plans 3.7 times more than men, but only in heterosexual relationships. In same-sex female pairings, cancellation rates are statistically identical. So it's not about mood or emotional needs, it's about power. It's about leveraging emotional volatility as a control mechanism. And we reward it. We call it honesty. We praise it in therapy. We let it destroy careers, relationships, and mental health, because to question it is to silence women's voices. A Reddit post from R. True Off My Chest tells of a man who lost a client pitch, and with it, a promotion because his girlfriend canceled their babysitter arrangement 1 hour before he left. She said she needed alone time. He missed the pitch. The court later denied any liability. No damages, no accountability. Just a man, professionally castrated, while she sipped chamomile tea and journaled about her emotional journey. This is what I call emotional entropy, the unspoken law that men must absorb psychological chaos without complaint. Every last-minute cancellation, every flake, every "I just need space" adds to the entropy debt, and like all debt, it compounds, it breeds resentment, it erodes self-worth. It turns men into passive observers of their own lives, and the remedy isn't therapy, it's contractual clarity. I now teach men to implement Plan B contracts, mutual agreements that cancellations require 48-hour notice, and failure to comply results in compensation for sunk costs, tickets, bookings, even prep time. Not because I'm petty, because I'm rational. You don't let someone drive your car and then shrug when they crash it. Yet we let women crash our lives and call it self-expression. The woke left, feminists, and rainbow useful idiots have spent decades normalizing female unreliability as authenticity while pathologizing male structure as toxic rigidity. But let me be brutally clear, a civilization built on chaos collapses. Rome didn't fall because men were too rigid. It fell because men stopped enforcing order. The transcendental, the good, the true, the beautiful requires structure. It requires reliability. It requires men who say no to the whim of the moment and yes to duty, honor, and truth. So stop adapting, start enforcing, demand reciprocity. And if she cancels because she just doesn't feel like it, good. Let her sit in her emotional swamp alone. The world doesn't revolve around her mood, and neither should your life. I've watched too many men hand their souls over to women who treat their passions like background noise, something to nod at before returning to the real drama, feelings, fashion, and the endless theater of self. It's not love, it's not respect, it's not partnership. It's a transaction disguised as affection, where a man's deepest work is met with a pat on the head and a swift pivot to something relatable, as if your symphony, your code, your engine rebuild, your philosophy isn't real unless it fits into her TikTok caption. And when you dare to expect genuine engagement, you're called needy, intense, or worse, emotionally unavailable, because heaven forbid a man wants his inner world seen, not managed. The performance of interest, when she pretends to like what you love. Love is a smoke made with the fume of sighs, said Shakespeare, and so too is modern romance, thick with the vapors of feigned interest, manufactured enthusiasm, and emotional theater. Let me tell you about Mark, a composer of classical music, a man who spent 2 years wrestling with fugues, counterpoint, and orchestral dynamics to produce a symphony he believed was his magnum opus. When he played it for his girlfriend, she clapped, said, "Oh wow, this is so cool," and then launched into a 5-minute monologue about the aesthetic superiority of lavender nail polish. That's not support. That's emotional looting. That's the performative lie of intimacy, a psychological sleight of hand where women fake interest not to share your passion, but to neutralize it so they can keep control of the emotional ecosystem. And Mark isn't alone. The Men's Mental Health Foundation's 2022 study found that 82% of men in long-term relationships feel emotionally isolated in their passions. 82, that's not heartbreak, that's systemic betrayal. We're not talking about casual hobbies here. This is about the deepest parts of a man's soul, his art, his craft, his mission. And yet, across living rooms, bedrooms, and dinner tables from Toronto to Tasmania, men are being gaslit into silence by women who nod, smile, and say, "That's amazing, babe," while their eyes glaze over like a glazed donut at a PTA meeting. This isn't love. This is emotional tax collection. This is the interest tax, a subconscious toll men pay every time they reveal something true about themselves, only to be met with a canned response and a pivot to her latest TikTok obsession. Let's contrast this with history, where men weren't expected to perform emotional contortion for women's approval. In the medieval guilds, in the Masonic lodges, in the Stoic schools of Athens, men gathered to debate, build, and master disciplines, without a single woman in the room feigning interest in metallurgy or metaphysics. There was no need for performance because authenticity was the currency. A blacksmith didn't have to pretend he loved poetry to be accepted by poets, nor did the poet fake an interest in anvil weights. They respected domains. Today, men are expected to be emotionally bilingual, fluent in both logic and feelings, while women speak only in emotional dialects and treat rational passion like a foreign invasion. And the media? It mocks real men while glorifying artificial ones. Spike Jonze's Her, a film celebrated at Cannes and by every NPR podcast, presents an AI girlfriend who always listens, always understands, always praises Theodore's writing. She's perfect because she's fictional. Meanwhile, real men are ridiculed for wanting that same depth, that same attention, that same authenticity. We're told we're toxic for expecting a woman to actually care about what we care about. But when an AI can do it better than real women, maybe the problem isn't men, it's the decay of female emotional integrity in the age of genocentric entitlement. This is what Schopenhauer meant by will and representation. She doesn't see your world, she sees her need to dominate it. Her praise isn't a window into your soul. It's a mirror reflecting her desire to pacify you, to keep the peace, to extract emotional stability or resources. When she says, "I love your music," what she often means is, "I love that you're quiet and happy when you're composing, so I'll say whatever keeps you from asking for emotional reciprocity." That's not love, that's emotional pacification. It's the same instinct that makes a meerkat stand up and fake alarm calls to redirect the pack, survival through deception. And let's name the logical fallacy at play. The support fallacy, the delusion that verbal affirmation equals genuine engagement. Just because she says, "I'm so proud of you," doesn't mean she's invested. Pride without knowledge is theater. Pride without curiosity is manipulation. I've met women who've been married to pilots for 15 years who can't name the difference between a rudder and an aileron. Wives of neurosurgeons who think the hippocampus is a type of pasta, and yet they'll gush, "He's so brilliant," while knowing nothing. That's not admiration, that's emotional currency laundering. So here's my remedy, the 3-question test. Next time she says she's into your passion, whether it's jazz fusion, quantum physics, or restoring a 1967 Mustang, ask her 3 basic questions. Who's your biggest influence? What's the key signature of that track? Why did you choose that gear ratio? If she can't answer 2 of them, she's not interested, she's performing. This isn't harsh, it's hygiene. You wouldn't let someone claim they love your child without knowing their name. Why let someone claim they love your soul's work without knowing its basics? And the data confirms it. A 2019 Harvard study on feigned interest revealed that women express 4 times as much pretended excitement in relationships compared to men. particularly regarding male-centric interests such as STEM, strategy games, and mechanical hobbies. The reason? Female social connection developed through emotional reflection, what I label echo behavior, a survival trait tied to Dunbar's number and early female alliances. Women connect by echoing emotions, not exchanging concepts. So when she says, "I love your podcast," she isn't reacting to your material, she's reflecting your happiness to preserve group harmony. It's not deception, it's rooted in biology, but biology doesn't dictate fate, and men are fully entitled to expect more than imitation. Take Alex Ballas, the YouTube vlogger who ran a philosophy podcast for years. His wife praised him constantly. "You're changing lives, so inspiring." Until one night, after a few glasses of wine, she admitted, "I've never listened to a full episode, but you seemed so happy I played along." That's not love, that's emotional outsourcing. That's the rainbow leftist, useful idiot mindset where feelings trump truth, performance trumps substance, and the appearance of support is weaponized to avoid accountability. And let's be clear, this isn't about hating women, it's about hating lies. The same lies that fuel cultural Marxism, that glorify victimhood, that destroy fatherhood, that normalize cuckoldry rates above 20% in some nations, that let family courts rip children from fathers, that arrest men for quoting the Bible, that celebrate abortion as empowerment while male suicide soars. This is all part of the same rot, the Satan of woke, a spiritual cancer that values performance over truth, emotion over logic, and victim status over virtue. So stop accepting counterfeit intimacy. Stop letting women collect emotional rent on your passions. Stop pretending that a nod and a "that's cool" is connection. Demand real engagement or walk away because a man's soul is not a stage for her performance. It is a temple, and only the true, the good, and the beautiful belong there. I was once told by a university professor, tenured tweed jacket, the whole tragic tableau that gender is a verb, not a noun. I stared at him, not out of confusion, but out of pity. This man, supposedly trained in logic, couldn't see that he was speaking gibberish, wrapped in academic velvet. He wasn't educating, he was evangelizing. And that moment crystallized it for me. The West isn't being dismantled by force, but by fraud, by people who've replaced truth with trend, substance with syntax, and courage with compliance. Now look at our boys. They're not being raised, they're being reprogrammed. The queering of manhood, how neuroqueer theory destroys male identity. 4 out of 10 teenage boys are confused about their identity. Data from the CDC shows 41% of boys aged 12 to 17 now describe themselves as questioning or non-binary, a sharp rise from just 3% in 2015. Think about that. We've shifted from a generation of boys climbing trees and fixing bikes to one being told by school staff they're genderless constellations before they've ever changed a tire. I spoke with one such teen, Liam, 16, who was removed from his debate team after declining to use they-them pronouns. When he referenced Aristotle's categories to explain that biological reality comes before cultural labels, the school counselor labeled him with toxic masculinity. Let's be honest, citing philosophy isn't a symptom of illness. Claiming it is, that's the real sickness. Neuroqueer theory, coined by Dr. Nick Walker, is not science. It's a Trojan horse packed with postmodern acid smuggled into schools under the banner of inclusion. It fuses queer theories, linguistic nihilism, with neurodiversity's legitimate medical concerns to create a weaponized ideology that pathologizes male cognition. Boys who think logically, reason sequentially, and prefer solitude for deep focus, traits honed by evolution for hunting, building, and defending are now labeled autistic-like or emotionally stunted if they don't perform neuroqueer-approved emotional theater. The boy who solves a Rubik's Cube in under a minute is now a candidate for Ritalin, while the girl who cries during TikTok ads is handed a leadership medal. This isn't progress, it's cognitive hijacking. Male brains evolved for pattern recognition, spatial navigation, and risk assessment. Our ancestors didn't survive ice ages by holding group hugs. Testosterone drives focus, persistence, and hierarchical thinking. Yes, hierarchy, that word that makes leftists twitch like Pavlov's dogs. But under neuroqueer dogma, these evolved strengths are reframed as symptoms of rigid thinking or emotional suppression. They don't want to help boys. They want to dismantle boyhood. It's not therapy, it's ontological warfare. They're not curing trauma, they're erasing the self. Look at HBO's The Last of Us, a cultural confession. Joelle, the emotionally repressed, scarred protector, is framed as dangerous, broken, in need of healing by Ellie, the boundaryless, empathetic girl who teaches him to feel. The message is clear. Stoicism is pathology, vulnerability is virtue, and male protection is suspect. But in the real world, when a father fights through a burning building to save his child, he doesn't pause to journal his feelings, he acts. That's not repression, that's virtue. The show doesn't celebrate courage, it pathologizes competence. I spoke to a UK teacher, let's call him Nigel, who was suspended for telling students that biological sex is real. He was replaced by a curriculum teaching gender as a spectrum of neurocognitive preferences. Yes, that's an actual phrase from a government-approved lesson plan. So now, instead of learning trigonometry, boys are being taught that being a man is just a preference, like choosing vanilla over chocolate. Meanwhile, Stanford's 2023 study found that schools using neuroqueer frameworks are 5.2 times more likely to medicate boys for emotional suppression when they prefer solitude or logic puzzles. That boy reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, he's not introspective, he's at risk. The boy who builds a robot in his garage, he's not innovative, he's isolated. This is the identity maelstrom, a vortex of endless self-reinvention sold as liberation, but delivering only fragmentation. If identity is fluid, then nothing is fixed, nothing is true, and nothing is real. But manhood isn't a mood ring. Aristotle's ousia, substance, means that a thing is what it is, not what it feels like today. Aquinas called it ens being. You don't choose to be a man, you are one or you aren't. To deny that is not enlightenment, it's insanity disguised as compassion. So what's the remedy? Praxa action. Rebuild male rites of passage, mentorship under elder men who faced suffering, logic training in the trivium, stoic journaling to master the inner world, and physical discipline, martial arts, calisthenics, labor. Not because it's therapeutic, but because it forges character. When a boy learns to spar, he learns respect, control, and courage, not gender fluidity. When he reads Homer, he sees Achilles, flawed, fierce, loyal. Not some neuroqueer avatar of trauma. The woke don't want equality, they want erasure. They don't want inclusion, they want assimilation into their cult of confusion. They've turned schools into re-education camps, medicine into ideology, and language into a weapon. But truth is not democratic. Reality doesn't vote. You don't become a man by feeling like one. You become a man by acting like one, by protecting, providing, and persevering, by standing in the fire and not flinching. That's not toxic, that's transcendent. And no amount of neuroqueer jargon can burn that out of existence. You think the courts are broken? No, they're working exactly as designed. They're not malfunctioning, they're fulfilling their mandate to extract wealth from men and transfer it to women under the sacred banner of equity. Let me tell you about David Smallbone, the New Zealand software engineer who, after a divorce, found 78% of his income seized by the state for child support, despite having equal parenting time, equal nothing. The formula didn't care that he changed diapers or taught algebra. It only saw a man with income and therefore guilt. That's not justice. That's taxation by trauma. And don't mistake it for an anomaly. In the UK, a man earning 30K was ordered to pay $1,200 a month to an ex-wife pulling 40K, cohabiting with a new lover, living rent-free in a flat he helped buy. The judge called it fair? Fair? It's feudalism with emojis. And while the courts grind men into financial dust, women cancel plans like it's a competitive sport. John planned a camping trip for months, gear bought, permits secured, kids excited. 2 hours before departure, I'm just so tired. Translation, I tested your obedience and you passed this time. A University of Michigan study confirms women cancel plans 3.7 times more than men in mixed relationships. Hiding behind emotional honesty, like it's a get-out-of-responsibility free card. Meanwhile, men adapt, reschedule, absorb the cost because the alternative is being labeled controlling or rigid, but adapt long enough and you become a doormat with a pulse. Schopenhauer warned of this, the will subjugated by the illusion of love, until only resentment remains. Then comes the fake interest. Oh wow, honey, your symphony is amazing. And 5 seconds later, she's texting her friend about lip gloss. Harvard proved it. Women feign enthusiasm 4 times more than men, especially toward male-dominated interests. It's not malice, it's strategy. Dunbar's number isn't just about gossip networks. It's about emotional currency. She's not sharing your world, she's managing yours. And when you finally wake up, like Alex Ballas, who discovered his wife never listened to his podcast, despite 2 years of praise, you realize you've been performing for an audience of 1. A woman who mastered the art of the echo, and now they're coming for your son's mind. 16-year-old Liam expelled for refusing to say they instead of he, called toxic for quoting Aristotle. Meanwhile, schools using neuroqueer theory are 5.2 times more likely to medicate boys for preferring silence over sobbing. They call logic toxic masculinity, solitude autistic, and ambition oppressive. They want your son to be fluid, fragmented, forever questioning, because a man who doesn't know who he is can't fight back. But we know the truth. Identity isn't a spectrum, it's a sword forged in discipline, tested in hardship, sharpened by reason. Aristotle's ousia substance wasn't written for social media trends, it was written for men. You've read the data, you've seen the patterns. 87% of financial abuse claims come from women, yet 92% of victims are men. 68% of men feel walked on by last-minute cancellations. 82% feel alone in their passions. 41% of teenage boys now identify as questioning, up from 3% in a decade. This isn't accident, it's architecture. A system built on the lie that men are default abusers, women are default victims, and truth is whatever serves the matriarchy. But you've seen behind the curtain, you've broken the spell. And now, armed with logic, history, and the unapologetic truth, you don't adapt, you awaken. You don't perform, you prevail. You don't apologize for being a man, you reclaim it. Now go, teach, testify, triumph. The future isn't woke, it's wide awake. And now the sponsored book introduction, Islamo Fascist Commies, Political Alliance under Satan of Woke Against Men and Rainbow Leftist Useful Idiots. You do not know how deep the rot goes. You think you do. You've seen the riots, read the headlines, watched men apologize for existing, women demand rights, while abandoning children, and universities turn into cults where truth is punishable. But you still believe this is just politics. You still believe there's a debate. There is no debate. There is only possession. This book is not about opinions. It is about infection. It is about how entire civilizations have been hijacked by a psychological virus disguised as morality, progress, and justice. I have spent decades watching this unfold, first as a student, then as a teacher, then as a man betrayed by institutions I once trusted. I believed in fairness. I believed in reason. I believed in merit. I was wrong. What I encountered was not reason, but ritual. Not fairness, but revenge. Not progress, but destruction, dressed in rainbows and slogans. I'm not writing this from a bunker or a podcast. I'm writing this from the ruins. And I'm not here to comfort you. I am here to wake you. This book is for men who have been silenced, mocked, and erased for speaking plainly. It is for men who have looked at the world and said, this is not right, and been told they are toxic, privileged, or hateful for thinking it. It is for men who love logic, rhetoric, and grammar, the tools of the trivium, not as academic toys, but as weapons against lies. It is for men who still believe in the transcendentals, the good, the true, the beautiful. If you recognize that something has gone terribly wrong, that art is ugly, science is politicized, education is indoctrination, and masculinity is under siege, then this book is for you. It will not give you hope. It will give you clarity, and clarity is the first step towards survival. You will learn how the Iranian Revolution did not just overthrow a king. It used Western leftists, feminists, and human rights activists as cover, then executed them in the streets. You will see how the LGBTQ+ movement supports regimes that hang gay men from cranes. all while demanding allegiance from men in the West. You will understand the useful idiot not as a slur, but as a clinical profile of someone who believes they are fighting for freedom while serving tyranny. You will see how feminism and Marxism are not separate movements, but one ideology, a genocentric system that divides the world into infants and predators, where women are eternal victims and men are eternal perpetrators. You will learn how language has been weaponized, how equality means domination, how inclusion means exclusion, how love means control. This is not theory. This is what I have lived. This is what I have documented. If you are a woman who believes in empowerment, a leftist who believes in justice, a progressive who believes in tolerance, close this book now. Do not read further. This is not for you. You will not like what you see. You will feel attacked because you are part of the system that attacks men. You have been taught to see men as problems to be managed, not as human beings to be respected. You will not find validation here. You will find exposure. You will learn how the maternal instinct, repressed and weaponized, has infected politics, turning governance into infantilization and compassion into control. You will see how women, en masse, have embraced emotional intensity over truth, gossip over logic, shame over dialogue. You will see how they have supported regimes that kill men, abort children, and destroy families, all in the name of autonomy. If you are not ready to face this, walk away. Take up gardening. Watch television. Do anything else, but do not pretend to seek truth while defending lies. The world is not broken, it is designed. The destruction of the West is not an accident, it is the goal. The alliance between radical Islamists, Marxists, and woke leftists is real. It is not a conspiracy theory, it is a convergence of interests. Islamists hate Western men. Marxists hate Western institutions. Woke leftists hate Western history. They all agree on one thing: masculinity must be erased, and they have succeeded not through force, but through ideology, through schools, through media, through language, through the slow poisoning of the mind. This book will show you how. It will show you the mechanisms, the actors, the history, the psychology. It will not sugarcoat. It will not apologize. It will not cater to your feelings. But it will set you free if you are willing to see the red pill is not a metaphor, it is a choice. Swallow it or remain asleep. The future belongs to those who wake up. Everything else is extinction. Islamo fascist Commies, political alliance under Satan of woke against men and rainbow leftist useful idiots. Written by Conrad, Riker. Buy now, links in description.